Well, it's 10 a.m. by the studio clock. You are tuned into Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tina Jha with the breakfast news. These are the headlines this morning. Prime Minister makes strong pitch for protecting tigers for sake of ecosystem, asks countries to collaborate on conservation. Environment Minister says India's big cat population has reached 2,500. Supreme Court reprimand Centre for delay in releasing Manrega funds for drought-hit states. BCCI to reply to Bombay High Court on shifting IPL venue out of Pune. International Monetary Fund cuts 2016 global growth forecast for fourth time in past year to 3.2%. India's growth prospect retained at 7.5%. Death toll in Kollam temple tragedy rises to 112. Kerala High Court bans high decibel fireworks at places of worship from sunset to sunrise. State government to frame firework policy at all-party meet on Thursday. And army orders probe into killing of two youngsters and firing in Handwara. Jammu and Kashmir police register case. Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti calls for exemplary punishment for those guilty of the killings. Complete shutdown in the Kashmir Valley. Our top focus this morning. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has called on for protecting tigers for the sake of ecosystem and also well-being of the humanity. Prime Minister was addressing the third Asia Ministerial Conference on the tiger conservation in New Delhi yesterday. He appealed the tiger range countries to collaborate on issues related to tiger conservation and to put an end to tigers poaching and trafficking. Making a strong pitch for tiger conservation, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday called for protecting the tiger for the sake of ecosystem, saying it was an imperative and not a choice. Speaking at the inaugural session of the three-day Asia Ministerial Conference on Tiger Conservation, the Prime Minister called for international collaboration and pledged India's support to the cause.
I would like to emphasize that conservation of tiger is not a choice. It is an imperative. I would also like to emphasize that regional cooperation is essential for combating wildlife crime. In this conference, let us resolve to work together to protect the tiger and his space. India is committed to engage with all tiger range countries for this purpose.
Noting that tiger habitats have reduced drastically across tiger range countries, the Prime Minister said the situation has been aggravated by the ongoing trafficking of the animal. He asked countries to join hands to check the menace of massive international poaching. He also announced that India will adopt the Statute of South Asia Wildlife Enforcement Network to fight wildlife crimes.
Several protocols for smart patrolling and tiger monitoring have been evolved. Radio telemetry is also being promoted to monitor tigers.
The Prime Minister also stressed on conserving forests, saying that forests and wildlife are inseparable from each other. He said destruction of wild animals and forests was one of the important causes of climate change.
Forests are inseparable from wild animals. Both are mutually complementary. Destruction of one leads to destruction of other. This is an important cause of climate change which is now affecting us adversely in many ways. This is a global phenomenon which all of us are grappling with.
Also speaking on the occasion, Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar said tigers' population was up to nearly 2,500 and that zero-tolerance policy was being adopted for tiger poachers. More than 700 tiger experts, scientists, managers and other stakeholders from all tiger range countries will discuss issues related to tiger conservation during the three-day event. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And moving on, after two successive years of deficient rainfall, the monsoon is expected to be above average this year. The forecast was made by the Indian Meteorological Department on Tuesday, ushering in the much-needed hope among people reeling under severe drought conditions. Now, a good monsoon means a substantial increase in farm production, which will in turn boost agricultural and economic growth. Amid prevailing drought and severe drinking water crisis in many parts of the country, the Meteorological Department brought in the much-needed good news. The monsoon this season is likely to bring very good rainfall. Making its first forecast for this monsoon season, the IMD announced that rainfall in the 4-month period of June to September is likely to be 106% of the long period average.
Rainfall over country as a whole for the 2016 southwest monsoon season, that is from 1st June to 30th September 2016, is likely to be above normal. And when I say above normal, it is between 104% to 110% of long period average.
The forecast is likely to bring widespread cheer in the country, which is reeling under a drought after 2 successive years of highly deficient rainfall during monsoon season. That perhaps was the reason the Met Department advanced the announcement of its forecast by about 2 weeks, the earliest it has issued in the last 10 years. The government is now hopeful of better agri output this year.
जो मौसम की अभी भविष्यवाणियां हो रही है उसके आधार पर हम कह सकते हैं कि 16-17 का जो वर्ष होगा उसमें अधिक उत्पादन होगा.
Meanwhile, in parched Latur in Maharashtra, celebrations broke out on the arrival of a special water train carrying about 5 lakh litres of water. Latur has become the focal point of the drought crisis in the Marathwada region.
ये सबसे बड़ी राहत है, लोगों के लिए सुकून की बात है. लातूर में और पानी आने वाला, ये सुनकर लातूर के लोग थोड़ी सी अभी आराम से नींद की राह ले सकते हैं, आराम कर सकते हैं.
जैसे लोग दीपावली और रमजान में जो खुशी मनाते हैं, ऐसी लातूर के लोगों को आज खुशी हो रही है. आप देख रहे होंगे पूरे लातूर शहर भर से लोग यहाँ पर सिर्फ ट्रेन देखने के लिए, रात भर कुछ लोग यहाँ पर ट्रेन देखने के लिए रुक गए थे.
प्रत्येक वैगन्स को फ्लैंस लगा करके हम जो है मेन हमने जो ग्रेविटी मेन्स डाली है उसमें पानी डाल रहा है. वो इसको डिकेंटिंग अरेंजमेंट करते हैं. ये डिकेंटिंग अरेंजमेंट से पानी जो है हमारा स्टोरेज तक जा रहा है. स्टोरेज में जो है हमने हमारे पंप्स लगे हुए हैं, वो पंप्स करके पानी टैंकर में भरेंगे. टैंकर से वाटर ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट तक जाएगा 2 किलोमीटर की दूरी पर, वहां ट्रीट होकर के पब्लिक को मिलेगा.
But in view of the severe drought conditions in other states, the Supreme Court reprimanded the centre for its delay in releasing funds for Manrega to these states. It also directed the centre to submit a detailed chart of the 10 drought-hit states and specify the number of people and districts, including villages, affected by it. The two-judge bench also indicated that it might appoint a commissioner to monitor the government's drought relief work in the affected states. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And in the wake of the drought situation in Maharashtra, the BCCI will respond to the Bombay High Court's question whether IPL matches can be shifted out of Pune owing to the water crisis. During the hearing of petitions seeking shifting IPL venues outside Maharashtra, the High Court sought a reply today. The BCCI has assured the High Court that it will use sewage-treated water at stadiums in Mumbai and Pune to maintain pitches. 9 IPL matches would be played in Pune and 8 in Mumbai. 1 out of the 8 matches has already been played in Mumbai. The High Court had pulled up the BCCI during the last hearing on the use of large quantities of water for ground maintenance.
So the first question was as to whether the BCCI is willing to supply the quantum of water that has been used by them till now to the drought hit areas. Second question posed was whether what is the quantum of funds donation that the BCCI is willing to make to the drought relief fund. And the third question was whether they can consider shifting a few matches out of Maharashtra. The court has come down heavily on them today as well, stating that are funds more important to you than human lives?
Then the government should take an action, to give a decision that IPL cannot happen. It is within the purview of the government to reject, in times of crisis, any activity in the state.
Our reply is that we are using sewage water, which is treated.
So, but the earlier water which you have used,
that is non-potable water.
So the earlier water which have you used?
We have used is only 1 match so far.
BCCI ने बड़ा स्पष्ट किया है कि ना हम कोई पोर्टेबल पानी लेंगे जिसके ग्राउंड के रखरखाव के लिए इस्तेमाल किया जाए. मुंबई क्रिकेट एसोसिएशन ने जो सीवरेज ट्रीटेड पानी है उसके इस्तेमाल की बात कही है और हमने कोर्ट में स्पष्ट शब्दों में कहा है कि हम किसी भी तरह से ऐसे पानी का इस्तेमाल नहीं कर रहे जो लोगों के पीने के लिए हो या जिसको टैंकर से लाकर इस्तेमाल किया जाए, हम उस पक्ष में नहीं हैं।
It's not even halfway through April and the mercury levels are soaring across many parts of the country. The most affected region is Telangana, where the Met Department has issued a heat wave and dry weather warning over the next 2 days. Most places in the state are likely to record maximum temperature between 40 and 45 degrees Celsius. On Tuesday, the highest maximum temperature of 44 degrees Celsius was recorded at Nalgonda and Ramagundam. In neighbouring Andhra Pradesh, the highest maximum temperature of 43 degrees Celsius was recorded at Tuni and Kurnool. Heatwave conditions have already claimed over 110 lives in Telangana and neighbouring Andhra Pradesh this season. While 66 people have died in Telangana, 45 deaths have been reported from Andhra Pradesh. Even in parts of northern India, the blistering heat conditions have set in, much to the inconvenience of people.
अप्रैल चल रहा है। अप्रैल महीने में जब माँ गंगा एकदम चली गई है पेट में, तो अभी मई जून बाकी है।
सूरज की किरणों के बारे में तो 11 बजते यहाँ पे कोई घाटों पे दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है आदमी, एकदम सन्नाटा छाया हुआ है यहाँ पे।
यही साल ऐसा हुआ, अगला साल तो बहुत दिन पानी था, इस बार तो देखिए इसी महीना से पूरा सूख गया पानी।
And in news related to the economy now, the International Monetary Fund has cut its 2016 global growth forecast for the 4th time in the past to 3.2%. The reason it cited was China's slowdown, persistently low oil prices, and chronic weakness in advanced economies. This forecast was down from 3.4% projected in January. The IMF, however, retained its 7.5% GDP expansion forecast for India in 2016 and 2017. It, however, asked the government to cut down subsidies, initiate labour reforms and dismantle infrastructure bottlenecks to sustain stronger growth. In 2015, India's growth was 7.3%, which would increase to 7.5% in the next 2 years in 2016 and 2017. The IMF also upgraded its China's growth forecast by 0.2 percentage points for this year and the next to 6.5% and 6.2% respectively. China, remember, clocked 6.9% growth in 2015 when India had recorded 7.3% expansion.
The New World Economic Outlook anticipates a slight acceleration in growth in 2016 relative to 2015 to 3.2% rate of growth, followed by a further acceleration to 3.5% in 2017. However, these projections continue to be progressively less optimistic over time.
And time now for all the election-related news in our special segment, Verdict 2016. Congress President Sonia Gandhi is scheduled to address 2 rallies in West Bengal today. The first rally will be held at Murari in Birbhum district, while the second one will be at Sujapur in Malda district. Voting for the second phase of the 6-phase polls will be held in 56 assembly segments on Sunday. Campaigning for these seats, which are spread over 6 districts of the state, is on in full swing despite the scorching heat. Candidates, along with supporters, have been holding road shows, rallies and meetings under the blazing sun as they can hardly afford to be slack in the 11th hour. And now a quick check on all the other election-related stories this morning in our quick election wrap. Expressing displeasure over incidents of violence in Part 2 of first phase of West Bengal Assembly elections, CPIM Politburo has urged the Election Commission to ensure free and fair voting in the state. CPIM accused TMC of attacking and intimidating opposition voters through violence. The party also submitted a memorandum to the Commission in this regard so that the mandate bestowed on it by the Constitution was judiciously exercised. Elections are to be held in 5 more phases covering 245 assembly constituencies in West Bengal. Controversial Kolkata Police Commissioner Rajiv Kumar has been removed from his post by the Election Commission following complaints against him by major opposition political parties. The BJP and the Congress had recently moved the Election Commission seeking removal of Kumar, alleging that he was close to West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee and accused him of snooping on opposition leaders, bureaucrats as well as journalists. The Election Commission appointed Special Flying Squad have seized illegal cash of over 57 crore rupees from the 5 states facing assembly elections, with Tamil Nadu leading the list with seizures of 22 crore 75 lakh till now. Assam came in second with 12 crore 33 lakh having been seized there. In West Bengal, the figure stands at about 11 crore 90 lakh, while 10 crore 20 lakh rupees have been seized in Kerala. Puducherry has seen seizures of about 60.88 lakh. The Election Commission has censured Trinamool Congress leader Anubrata Mandal for violating the Model Code of Conduct. The poll body had earlier issued a show-cause notice to the Birbhum district president of Trinamool Congress. Following complaints against him, a censure was issued after his reply was not found to be satisfactory. In the meantime, the full bench of the Election Commission held a meeting to review the poll preparedness for the second phase of West Bengal Assembly polls on the 17th of April. Time for a very short break here. More news and updates will continue on the other side. Do stay with us.
Art arisen from a multi-hued cultural canvas. Tradition and cultural fervour dating back centuries. And encircling them all, there's a magic that awes. Embrace your nation's brilliant human warmth. Watch Colours of India, Sundays at 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha Television.
Thanks for staying with us on Breakfast News. News now from Jammu and Kashmir, where 2 people have been killed in army firing in Handwara sector. The incident took place when the army opened fire to disperse a stone-pelting mob that was protesting against alleged molestation of a girl by some of its personnel. The army has ordered an inquiry, while Jammu and Kashmir police have registered a criminal case and have begun investigations into the incident. Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti said the security personnel involved in the killing of the youth will be given exemplary punishment. She said such incidents cannot be tolerated since these have a negative impact on the state government's efforts to consolidate the peace efforts.
There was an allegation that a girl had been misbehaved by one of the force personnel who was deployed there in Handwara town, after which a crowd assembled around the bunker and they tried to ransack it and set it on fire. The forces retaliated, in which 2 people got injured and later they succumbed to their injuries. The forces which were deployed there, they have resorted to firing as the mob had converged on the bunker which was there. So all these things will come up in the investigation. Once the investigation is complete, we will know the exact facts.
And Haryana's corporate hub Gurgaon has been renamed Gurugram. The decision has been taken by the Manohar Lal Khattar government, which says that the people of the area have been making a demand in this regard for quite long. The government has said that Gurgaon was a centre of learning and is a historic land of the Bhagavad Gita. The government also decided to rename Mewat district as Nuh. Mewat, in fact, is a geographical and cultural unit and not a town. It is spread beyond Haryana in the adjoining states of Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan. There have been mixed reactions to the decision of name changing.
जहाँ तक सवाल है गुड़गांव और गुरुगांव का, असली तो ये गुरु का ही गांव है। गुरु गांव से ही नाम ये चला था, तो ये उच्चारण करते करते गुड़गांव हो गया था। तो गुरुगांव कोई ऐसी बात नहीं है, ठीक नाम है, क्योंकि असली नाम उसका गुरुगांव ही है। इसका मैं स्वागत करता हूँ। लेकिन जो नू रखा है, वैसे नू भी ऐतिहासिक जगह है, परंतु मेवात जो है वो नाम वही रहना चाहिए।
This has been always a policy of the BJP government, just to change names. They are unable to deliver goods for the people. They are unable to deliver promises, and that's how they are doing this.
पहले गुरुग्राम नाम था, गुरुग्राम बाद में पे आयो, अब फिर दोबारा इसको गुरुग्राम नाम दे रहे हैं। इसके बारे में मेरा विचार है, गुरु के नाम पे इसका नाम होना चाहिए।
तो मैं समझता हूँ कि गुड़गांव का नाम गुड़गांव ही रहना चाहिए, और हम काफ़ी प्यार करते हैं गुड़गांव से, तो गुड़गांव का नाम गुड़गांव ही रहे तो बेटर है।
अब गवर्नमेंट अगर अच्छा काम कर रही है तो गुरु तो बहुत अच्छी चीज है। गुरु का नाम ये तो गुरु द्रोणाचार्य के पास में नजदीक पड़ता है, गुरु द्रोणाचार्य के नाम से अगर होगा तो बहुत अच्छी बात है, हमें खुशी है इस बात की।
इसलिए मैं यही समझ पा रहा हूँ, अब तक जो भी मैंने देखा है गवर्नमेंट का वर्किंग स्टाइल, के नाम ही चेंज कर रहे हैं, कभी स्कीम का नाम चेंज कर रहे हैं, किसी रोड का नाम चेंज कर रहे हैं, किसी शहर का नाम चेंज कर रहे हैं। इनसे हटके अगर डेवलपमेंट पे ध्यान देते तो अब तक मेरे ख्याल से स्मार्ट सिटी में गुड़गांव आ चुका होता।
And moving on to Kerala now, where the death toll in the temple tragedy has risen to 112. A 14-year-old boy who is believed to be the youngest victim of the tragedy succumbed to his injuries yesterday. 13 people, including members of the managing committee of the Puttingal Devi temple, where the tragedy took place on Sunday, have been arrested. In another development, the Kerala High Court has banned use of high-decibel crackers and fireworks display after sunset in places of worship across the state in the wake of this tragedy. The court has also asked the state government to examine whether a CBI probe is necessary into the tragedy probe. The state government held a high-level meeting to review the progress of the various relief activities and treatment facilities being provided to people. An all-party meet has also been called on the 14th of April, that's tomorrow, and it also happens to be the Kerala New Year, in order to formulate a policy of fireworks.
ഇന്നിപ്പം ഇതുപോലുള്ള വെടികെട്ടുകൾ ഇത് തുടരണോ അതിനെ സംബന്ധിച്ചൊക്കെ പല വിധത്തിലുള്ള അഭിപ്രായങ്ങൾ ഉയർന്നു വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. കേരള ഹൈക്കോടതിയിൽ ഇന്ന് ഈ കാര്യം എടുക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. ഈ സാഹചര്യത്തിൽ ഞങ്ങൾ ആലോചിച്ച് ഒരു ഓൾ പാർട്ടി മീറ്റിംഗ് വിളിച്ചു കൂട്ടാനായിട്ട് തീരുമാനിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. നാളെ കഴിഞ്ഞ് 14-ാം തീയതി 2 മണിക്ക് മുഖ്യമന്ത്രിയുടെ കോൺഫറൻസ് ഹാളിൽ വെച്ചാണ് മീറ്റിംഗ്.
In some other significant news, India and the United States have agreed in principle to a logistic exchange agreement that will enable both militaries to use each other's assets as well as bases for repair and replenishment of supplies. Defense Minister Manohar Parrikar and visiting US Defense Secretary Ashton Carter, however, made it clear that the agreement does not entail deployment of American troops on Indian soil. The two sides also agreed to set up a new bilateral maritime security dialogue between officials from their respective defense and foreign affairs ministries. India and the US will also enhance ongoing Navy-to-Navy discussions to cover submarine-related issues and deepen cooperation in maritime domain awareness by finalizing a white shipping agreement in the near future.
As our engagement deepens, we need to develop practical mechanisms to facilitate such exchanges. In this context, Secretary Carter and I have agreed in principle to conclude a logistic exchange memorandum of agreement in the coming months.
The U.S.-India relationship is destined to be one of the defining partnerships of the 21st century. And that destiny is rapidly and surely becoming a reality.
And India and the US have also identified 2 new pathfinder projects under the Defense Trade and Technology Initiative for the joint production of a helmet-mounted digital display and a biological tactical detection system. America has also formally pitched 2 proposals for the manufacture of fighter jets under the Make in India initiative. Visiting US Defense Secretary Ashton Carter and his Indian counterpart Manohar Parrikar also welcomed the finalization of 4 government-to-government project agreements in the area of science and technology cooperation. And the United Nations will celebrate the 125th birth anniversary of Dr. BR Ambedkar today. The celebration will come a day before his birthday that falls on the 14th of April. The celebrations will focus on combating inequalities to achieve sustainable development goals. The program is a stepping stone for the UN's 2030 agenda for SDGs that aims at combating inequality within and among countries to create sustained, inclusive and sustainable growth. The event will acknowledge Dr. Ambedkar's vision to create a nation on the firm grounds of democracy and social justice, along with sustainable development. The commemoration ceremony will take place at the UN headquarters in New York. And on to Brazil now, where President Dilma Rousseff, who is facing impeachment by Congress, has denounced a conspiracy to overthrow her, suggesting that Vice President Michel Temer is one of the leaders of the plot. A congressional committee, remember, had on Monday recommended to the lower house that Rousseff be impeached for breaking budget laws to support her re-election bid in 2014, a charge vehemently denied by Dilma Rousseff. Temer also has denied plotting against Rousseff, though his aides say he has been preparing in case he has to step into her shoes so that he can restore confidence in the country. Rousseff is struggling to avoid impeachment and her government is largely paralyzed as Brazil the world's 7th largest economy, faces a deep recession and a historic corruption scandal while it prepares to host the Olympic Games in August.
Não há crime de responsabilidade, mas tenta dar uma aura jurídica ao golpe constitucional que tentam praticar.
Ontem ficou claro que existem, sim, 2 chefes do golpe que agem em conjunto e de forma premeditada.
And on the sports front, after thrashing arch-rivals Pakistan yesterday, India will now take on defending champions New Zealand in the Sultan Azlan Shah Cup tournament today. India produced its best performance of the tournament in the 5-1 victory over Pakistan. Manpreet Singh opened the scoring for India in the 4th minute, but it was neutralized by Pakistan's Mohammad Irfan 3 minutes later through a penalty corner. SV Sunil then scored through a deflected shot to give India a 2-1 lead at half-time. The 5-time champion India applied pressure in the second half and scored 3 more goals. Sunil scored his second goal in the 3rd quarter, followed by goals from Talvinder Singh and Rupinder Pal Singh in the last quarter. With 9 points from 4 matches, India has moved to the 2nd spot behind Australia in the league table. New Zealand, who lost to Australia by a narrow 0-1 margin in the yesterday's encounter, are 3rd with 8 points. And more sporting action in the sports beat. World number 3 Roger Federer returned from a 10-week layoff with straight sets victory against Spain's Guillermo Garcia Lopez at the Monte Carlo Masters. Federer was barely bothered by the world number 38 as he led to a comfortable 6-3, 6-4 second round victory. Meanwhile, world number 2 Andy Murray laboured into the 3rd round with a 6-2, 4-6, 6-3 victory over France's Pierre Hugh Herbert. Cristiano Ronaldo scored a superb hat-trick as Real Madrid overturned a 2-0 first leg deficit against Wolfsburg to reach the Champions League semi-finals. Wolfsburg came into the match with a 2-goal advantage, but it was levelled inside first 20 minutes by Ronaldo. The Portuguese then scored a late winner to complete a remarkable comeback for Madrid. In another quarter-final, Manchester City reached the semi-finals of the Champions League for the first time with a thrilling win over Paris Saint-Germain. After a 2-2 first-leg draw in Paris, the tie remained in the balance as Sergio Aguero's missed penalty for City in the first half. However, Kevin De Bruyne struck the only goal of the match in the 76th minute to take his side to the first-ever semi-final in the tournament. And that's it from us in this bulletin. Thanks for watching.